We play this game where Riley asks if I'm ready and I say no, and then he goes anyways. Because I'm never gonna be ready. Oh gosh. We're Riley and Courtney Casey. After traveling for 6 months in a truck camper we built ourselves, we fell in love with North Idaho and purchased 20 acres of raw, off-grid land. We spent the summer building our 30 by 40 barn dominium, and with the weather changing, we are pushing hard to get our building insulated, heated, and comfortable. Step one is, can we get the trailer? This is the snowiest section of the entire this is the iciest section of like the entire road. So step one is, can we get the trailer up this little hill and off the property?
Success.
Full disclosure, I think that sometimes on this channel things look easy and fun. We got that first snow and it was 2 days later we were like, oh, we need to run to town. And so Riley and I got in my car and we started going to town, and our road was slippery and deep snow, and our section hadn't been plowed because we don't own a plow yet, and I wasn't prepared for it. We used to go snow wheeling in college and I thought it was super fun, but something about like that mentality switch of life versus play, I have a hard time with that one. That's not something that I've ever had to be prepared for. And so I freaked out. Like, I was uncomfortable. I actually decided to just come back to the shop and the camper, and Riley went to town without me, and it wasn't an issue. And so I'm working on being more prepared mentally and being okay. We might get stuck, and that is okay. It's not a big deal. We're well prepared. We've got food, we've got water. We have amazing neighbors who have offered us also food and water and a warm place to sleep if we need it. It's not the end of the world. We're gonna be slow, careful, safe, and try to have fun, because that is why we're doing all of this, is because it's fun.
All right, let's go get some building materials.
There we go. Our attempt to take our trailer to town with my car. What could possibly go wrong? In typical Riley fashion, he assured me it's going to be totally fine. But in typical Courtney fashion, I'm not really convinced of that. So at least I'll film it for you guys. All right, Riley, you win this one.
No problem.
We made it down our hill. It's time to head to town, get our errands done, and get back up, hopefully before it's dark and everything freezes again. There's so many options. How do we pick? Last time I was talking to you like this, we were sliding in ice and chaining up in Steamboat, and we are chaining up again.
We have running all our errands, took a lot longer than expected. It's now dark out and we've got a heavy trailer load of stuff. We do not want to get stuck. I think it's going to be wise just to put the chains on now before we head up the hill.
You put chains on before?
I've put cables on, I've never put chains on.
All right.
And I know these are different.
Something about the smooth side?
Yep. Go ahead, keep going, keep going. Stop. Okay, I think we're good. Keep that in there.
And then you go up and then you hook it in that. All right.
Good enough?
Are we ready?
We'll see what happens. We're gonna drive like 50 feet and then check them.
This is the first sketchy, steep spot. The camera is not going to do it justice, so you're just gonna have to take our word for it that this section is pretty darn steep. Steeper, I forget how steep this is every time we come up this. Woo. Do you think we would have made it up it without chaining?
I don't know.
I don't think we would have.
You want to try? After we'll unchain, we'll go back down and then we'll see what it's like.
No, Riley thinks Okay, we made it up the first of the 2 bad sections. Stay tuned.
Wait, spit a couple rocks out right here. Let's assess the situation. We could back down and get a little momentum and try again.
I'm not with my stove.
Your stove is fine. It's a heavy-duty metal stove.
We're bouncing.
Let's get a little more momentum and try again.
We play this game where I Riley asks if I'm ready and I say no and then he goes anyways. Because I'm never gonna be ready. Oh gosh. Oh. It's not gonna work. It's not gonna work. Oh, it's not gonna work. It's not gonna work. Ah!
Made it. No problems.
My stove's okay.
Everything's fine. We made it.
We made it. I did the math and we had 1,700 pounds in just drywall, plus all the insulation.
Plus a bunch of 2x4s and a wood stove, plus a pretty heavy trailer. We were loaded down for sure.
But we made it. It's a Lexus truck. Now we need to get all this stuff inside tonight because it's supposed to snow and we don't want our drywall and our insulation getting wet.
Here's that trailer load of drywall, insulation, and 2x4s that we picked up yesterday for finishing up getting this place insulated. We were able to pull it into the shop last night. So glad to have an indoor space to do that because last night there was another storm. The snowflakes are humongous. I would guess so far we've gotten about 2 inches, but it's coming down pretty good right now. We almost didn't make it up here last night with all of this. Plan B was to like unload half of it down at the bottom of the hill, bring half of it up, unload that, go back, get the rest. And I'm so glad we were able to make it up here. But if we tried to do it today, there's no way. It would just be way too slippery out there. So we timed that perfectly. Hey Courtney, why did you choose to drive the excavator?
Because the heater's on.
All right, 1,700 pounds of drywall headed up to the top of the building. Hopefully the rigging works out.
All right, let's talk about insulation. In a perfect world, we would be spray foaming our entire building. However, it was not in the budget. Maybe the next building it will be. We're just gonna go super conventional with our insulation and we're gonna be using fiberglass batt insulation on the walls and then we're gonna be using blow-in up in the attic. There is a downside to a pole barn and that is when you go to insulate, you kind of end up having to frame twice. But if we hadn't done a post-frame building, I don't think we'd have a building right now. So it's kind of the trade-off and we're gonna start with this back wall and see if we can't get this done so that we can have a warm building.
With the interior framing done, it's time to start shoving fiberglass in here. We're using R19 craft-faced fiberglass insulation, so the craft paper goes on the interior. The craft paper is a vapor barrier so that all the moist air from our breath can't migrate through the fiberglass and condense on the sheet metal outside. Let's get started. So for now, I'm just putting enough wall girts up to hold the insulation in, and once we know how we're gonna cover the wall, we'll add more girts as appropriate. It's time to move on to the space under the apartment. The downside to sort of moving into our unfinished building is that now we have to move all of the stuff out of the way every time we want to do something. So at one point in this project, we thought it would be a really good idea to add 1-inch rigid foam in the space between all the wall girts to give us some extra insulation. But later we learned that that creates what's called the double vapor barrier situation, where condensation and moisture could end up trapped between this rigid foam and our house wrap and cause problems. So we're gonna go ahead and pull all of this out.
We decided to take a break from filming this week.
We just didn't have the capacity to get everything done we were trying to get done and stop and set up the cameras and film.
And edit, and just, we were feeling overwhelmed. We ended up this week with a really nice break in weather. All of the snow melted. It was in the 50s, and it was a great opportunity to do a lot of prep.
That first storm we had was kind of a wake-up call that we really weren't prepared for winter this year.
Leaving for 2 months and being gone all of September and October, we felt like we lost all of our fall prep time, and so we really took advantage of this week. And we got a lot of projects done that had kind of been looming over our heads, and we feel so much better now. You guys saw a little bit of us insulating the building.
The plastic that you saw us put on the ceiling of the shop is going to hold our blow-in insulation up.
Our interior wall treatments probably won't be happening until spring. I think we're actually going to be doing a metal inside that's going to require a scissor lift to hang. It's not a very big priority right now, so the plastic in the interim will hold that blow-in in. So we got the plastic up. We'll talk more about that in a future episode when we do our blow-in.
One of the other things that we really wanted to get done before the snow got deep was to change that flat tire on the Army truck. It ended up what I thought was going to be about a 30-minute job turned into like an all-day affair.
We hadn't done a Patreon Tech Tuesday video in a while, and so we took the Army truck tire as an opportunity to do that. So if you want to see the footage of us changing that tire, and by us I mean Riley because it did not go well, you can check that out on our Patreon.
We had a really big slash pile back here that we took the opportunity to burn. What you see behind me is sort of the last remnants of cleaning this area up so that it doesn't get buried in snow, because once it's buried in snow, we cannot see it, and we're finding ourselves running it over.
Burning the slash pile also turned into the realization that we had no split lumber.
So in May of this year, when we first started clearing for our job site, we cut quite a few rounds and stacked them up out of the way to dry. And they actually did dry out pretty well. And so we took the opportunity while we were burning the slash to go ahead and split a bunch of firewood and stack it up inside where it'll stay nice and dry.
And you guys are right. We are going to be doing some sort of dumbbell or lift or elevator to get our firewood from where we stacked it up to the wood burning stove, and that'll happen eventually.
So that's a great idea. Thanks for sharing that one with us.
The last thing that we did was last night at 1 a.m, and we built our staircase.
So we've been using this dry weather as an opportunity to bring a bunch of building materials up here, and one of those was the materials for that staircase. Yeah, we probably should have built that staircase a long time ago. It is super nice now to be able to walk up and down the stairs and not climb the ladder. And
so much safer. I mean, it is obviously so much safer. The ladder wasn't really bothering Riley and I, but the dogs couldn't come upstairs with us, which means the dogs also couldn't come lay by the fire, and it was killing me. So we decided to build a staircase last night. It's a very crude, very simple staircase. This is just temporary. We do have plans eventually for a much more elaborate entrance that we will tell you more about once we have that figured out. So this is our temporary staircase, and this is the dogs going up for the very first time. Go upstairs? Good boy. Oh, Boone's not scared. It's okay. But Bailey's, it's okay, Bailey, good girl. Oh, Bailey's going up too. Oh, apparently they're not scared of the staircase at all. I think they're happy. I'm gonna put their bed right here. And while we're working this winter and it's cold, they can lay there by the fire, and I think they're gonna be really happy. So they can go up the staircase. Now the question is, will they go down it? Easy. That feels amazing to have that done. We have all of our drywall up here that we need to drywall. We have all of our insulation up here. We have hopefully all of the big heavy building materials that we need to keep us working. And that's good because there's a storm coming in tonight.
And once these next few storms come in, it's a good chance it's not going to melt off and we're not going to be able to haul the trailer full of building materials up here.
But that also means that hopefully we're going to get to test the Snowverlander soon.
So thank you guys so much for watching this video.
We're super excited to get back to filming everything we're doing, and we are about to transition to working on the apartment, which is really exciting because I'm looking forward to having somewhere to live.
Next episode is going to be about drywalling and insulating, so stay tuned for that one. Thank you guys so much for your constant support of this channel. We really appreciate it, and like we've said before, we couldn't be doing this without you.
It is cooling off quickly around here, and we have a few more things to wrap up, but we'll see you in a few days.